Hello, welcome once again to another year, a brand new year of the Coach's Corner program. I'm Jeff Ruth, back for, 21, 22 years. I kind of lost track.
Seems like forever.
Yeah, along with John Mullins, and John's the one that really makes this show click.
With the students, it's our goal to have the kids get their hands on the equipment and do the workflow that it takes to do a live television production. So this is all them right now, especially since I'm up here.
Yeah. So no football coach. Normally we will have our football coach, right, but not today.
To say this has been a crazy start to the year is an understatement. First of all, knowing that we lost our head football coach the week before our first game, and then we had the new head coach placed in, and having I've not yet had a conversation or a face-to-face with him about the show. We have been talking through correspondence on email, and unfortunately, through complications in communication, he didn't get to come to this one. But I was so adamant about doing it this week, since we missed last week. Going on with restating how crazy it was, I ended up with COVID the first week of school, which meant I had to go to the protocols, which meant I couldn't be here for the game. Regardless of how I felt, it was you're off 5 days. I mean, that's the protocol. So we missed the first game, unfortunately, and we were ready. I mean, we had the equipment was already taken out to the stadium. The kids were signed up to do their tasks, and then Friday afternoon I tested positive, and they said, no, you're off. So we missed our first game. We did get highlights thanks to Scott Cameron, who was one of our play-by-play in the booth during the games, him and Aaron Miller. Scott was kind enough, or we were lucky enough to have him film some segments. I think he used an iPad, so the quality isn't necessarily like our regular broadcast, but we do have footage and highlights of the Mount Vernon game to talk about. Fast forward to last week's game with Ashland, and although the game itself didn't really go our way, the Telecom students did an amazing job for their first time. So it literally had only one Telecom 2 student, Carter Jones was the only one that worked last year, who was able to come up and work one of the shifts. So everybody else that was there was new. I think we had eight or nine kids come up and work, and they just did a fantastic job. So
not only do we tape this during the school day, generally we do it on Tuesday afternoon, but they're out there Friday night doing games. I know later in the year when you have Christmas programs and all of those kind of things, they'll be out and about.
Yeah, we really look at this program as almost they call it simulated workplace, because it's almost more of a job than it is just a class. They don't do traditional things like textbook homework assignments kind of thing. Our assignments or our homework is actually going out in the field when the events take place. So when there's a football game, that's their assignment. That's what they do. And they sign up for a quarter of, and most of them do more than one quarter anyway, because most of them really enjoy it. So it's a great activity and a great intro to building your work ethic, I think.
Do they still call it a Christmas program, or is it now a holiday program?
Well, it's holidays at Harding, so
okay.
But they do Christmas carols, so I think it's fair to say Christmas. And that's one of the things they'll do too for when we have exams. We don't have written exams. They have to produce at the end of the first semester. We do a holiday program of just Telecom. Okay. Kind of silliness, but it's fun, and they get to be creative and do their own thing.
All right. Well, generally, for those maybe that aren't familiar with what we do, we usually do the interview with the coach. We look at some of the highlights. We have a couple of players to talk to. We're going to be talking some volleyball today as well.
We do have a coach. I was adamant about it. At least we have a coach. We have some cheerleaders here as well. Luckily, again, our numbers are coming back from the last 2 years of having all of our COVID protocols in place, and a lot of the events we used to do got canceled, obviously. Yep. So our numbers kind of dropped a little bit. They're coming back. As of this week, I think we're at 26, 28 kids in the Telecom program, which is about where it should be. Yep. We're kind of getting back into the groove of things, and there are hiccups. As I said, we kind of started with a hiccup with the football coach scenario. Our new coach, I don't think he was very excited in our email communications that he was really adamant about doing it. So he wants to do it, and I know he's looking forward to it, but he couldn't work it into his schedule for today. So hopefully next week we have him. But we do have a coach. We have our Olivia Davis, our volleyball coach, which is happening this season. And like I said, we have 2 or 3 football players, a couple of cheerleaders, and we'll have Olivia to talk to a little bit. But we'll come back in a little bit. We do have highlights that we prepared. So
always look forward to doing this.
Absolutely.
We'll be back with more on our Coach's Corner program right after these words. Once again, back on the Coach's Corner program, 2 home games in so far, the Mount Vernon game and the Ashland game, now on the road now for the next several weeks, and we might as well take a look at some of the highlights.
Absolutely. Like I said, the first set of highlights were shot with a single shot, so we don't have a lot of good tight shots of things, but we did have, and that's one of the things we were talking about during the games, that even though the games didn't go our way, there were a lot of good things to look at in this team. And I know one of the things that the coach would want to say is that after that first game, there were a lot of injuries. And I know when you talk to the football players, that's one of the things they'll probably talk about is, the week 2 game with Ashland. I don't know, guys, what was it, 6 or 7 starters were out? So, that's got to have an impact. So let's go ahead and take a look at those highlights. And Parker, you can go ahead and roll those. They love the transitions. I love the transitions. I think it's great. So here we have the Mount Vernon highlights. These are prepared by one of our football. In fact, this is one of his highlights. Trinity Keith with a run for gain. Right out of the bat, this is Mount Vernon. That looked like a horse collar to me, but I won't say anything. This is a 4th and goal that the defense stepped up and stopped.
They actually had a 1st and goal at about the 2, so 4 really good defensive plays.
You're going to see a pass play. Once we get going here. And there's Parker Davis with the reception from Alex Stokes.
Parker had a touchdown in that game as well.
Yeah. Kickoff return. Trinity Keith is just, he gets his wheels going. You can't stop him. I mean, he's carrying guys. And it was funny, we were doing these highlights. I said, Trinity, is that you? He goes, yeah. And this is him again. Trinity's, he's going to break some tackles. And there again, he's just off to the races. There should be another pass play. And that's Nick Hecker with a 14-yard catch. He's going to roll out, and he's going to hit Marquise Long with a reception there. Gets off the sideline. And what would high school football be without a broken play? You see Alex Stokes, and he's going to scramble. He's going to get some yardage out of that, making something out of nothing. Then you get a great sideline pass here to Trinity Keith. He almost scores, tiptoes on the tightrope there.
And I think they had to bring that back because of a penalty, if I remember right.
And then we have Caden Jones with an interception.
like the enthusiasm on the sideline.
Yeah, it's hard to watch this game and then the next game and think it's the same team. Parker Davis with a big hit. Here's defense is just going to wrap this guy up, just swarm him. And then again, we're going to have Trinity Keith, 65-yard run, touchdown. Look at this guy go.
And they called that one back as well.
It still looks good.
Yep.
And we certainly missed him the next week. So here we are. This is the Ashland game.
Certainly had two really great nights for high school football.
Yeah, it was great out there. So Bradley Pennington, the defensive stop. And you got to remember with this game, we're down, like I say, 6 or 7 starters.
There were 2 safeties in this game.
Yes.
I mean,
never see that.
I mean, you go a whole year and don't see a safety, and they have 2 in one game. I don't know that I've heard of that before.
Yeah. Marquise Long was him breaking some tackles for that return. Caden Jones with a pick 6. We almost missed that highlight. Marcus Hempel with a reception there. Another defensive stop on a goal. I think there's a couple of those. They're sitting on the 5-yard line and just put up a wall of defense there and stopped them. And I think they did the same thing the next play. He was looking and looking, but now he's going to get sacked. And that's Marcus Hempel. This is Alex Stokes dropping back. He drops that to Marquise Long. It was a great pass and catch. Alex is going to scramble a little bit here, get some yardage. And here's a big hit coming. Boom. That's Marquise Long just dropping the hammer there. Here's a kickoff return also with Marquise Long. That one we were yelling, let it go, let it go. And then he just runs it back. And this should be our last highlight. Alex Stokes is going to pass to Dylan Holloway.
And that result, a loss to Ashland.
Loss to Ashland.
Newark coming up on the road, and Newark's a gettable game.
Yeah, and I think when you talk to the football players, they'll have some things to say about the difference between the first week and last week, as well as where we're headed with our injuries and sickness and stuff. I mean, even just school in general. I know today we've had several teachers and students out. I don't know if it's the COVID bug, but there's something going around, and like I said, I had it, and there's no getting around it. So we're working through things. Things are starting to settle in a little bit, and I think this is a very unusual year, particularly, like I said, with the coaching situation, and not having. We haven't settled in yet, and I think that's also got a weigh on how the kids played and performed as well. I mean, I don't know how can it not?
No.
So I think we move onward and upward and keep plugging away. And I think so far, like I say, the Telecom kids are doing a great job. I think you look at those highlights and you can see there's potential. I think there's great potential there. So.
Do too. All right.
Yep.
John, look forward to the entire year.
Absolutely.
Probably do it in basketball as well.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll be back. We have a couple of the players we're going to talk to, and we'll do that right after these words.
The historic OK Cafe.
Pizza, calzones, subs, sandwiches, and more.
Our fresh dough is made daily, topped with your favorite ingredients and made to order.
Stop in for our lunch buffet or check out our many daily specials.
Looking for something to do?
Come in and check out our giant projector screen on game days. Sing with friends on karaoke nights and dance the night away with live entertainment from your favorite local bands.
So even though Rex might have a short reach, we'll never come up short on service.
So remember, when you're hungry, check out the OK Cafe, home of the giant 20-inch Pizzasaurus Rex made to order. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Come to the historic OK Cafe, located at 734 East Center Street, Marion made for over 80 years.
This is the segment where we talk to some of the players. We have three seniors up here, Trinity Keith to my right, and then we have Caden Jones and Bradley Pennington to my left. And Trinity, we'll kind of start with you. I know the first game we did, you came out not once, not twice, but you came out 3 times. And when you came out that third time, it looked like it was a fairly serious injury. Where are you now?
Well, I'm on the road to getting better. The first 2 times, they was just cramps, but the one that took me out, I sprained my ankle, and it's getting better though. So.
All right. Now you weren't able to play last week.
No.
Are you hoping to play this week?
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of talk a little bit about just that whole transition for that week and a half, where you go from one coach to another. And I know in talking with the coach before the first game, he said, he thought the transition went well and so forth. But there's got to be a certain amount of indecision and not really knowing what's coming.
Well, I feel like it's a big switch from our head coaches changing, but I feel like the standard's still the same. We still should have a good season. It just depends on how much work we put in. So.
And I know that Mount Vernon game, you had that 65-yard touchdown run called back. It was another play down to about the 2 or 3 yard line. Good thing you didn't really have any turnovers in that ball game, but the penalties just really killed you in that ball game.
It's just tough.
As far as the Ashland game last week, you look at a double overtime loss and then the Ashland score last week, it looks like, well, they must not have played as well. But it sounds like he still did a lot of good things in that second game.
Yeah, well, when we get that Ashland game, we had a lot of missing players from sicknesses and injuries from the game before, but a lot of players are starting to come back, so we'll be back to our full potential. Yeah,
I think you used, 23 players last year as seniors. Yeah. You were one of those coming back, and I think you probably realized that, a lot of the weight of this season is going to be on your shoulders.
Yeah, but we got a lot of upcoming good players. We got new players, a.k.a. Caden Jones. We got Brad, he's coming back. He started on the defense, so we cool right now. Okay,
2 games does not make a season, and you got Newark coming up on Friday night, and good luck on Friday.
Thanks.
Hopefully you're back 100%.
Thanks.
Caden, we'll kind of start a little bit with you. First of all, talk about your position or positions.
I play safety. I'm the starting free safety, and then I play a little bit of slot. I play on kickoff and kickoff return.
Okay. Talk about the toughest, on defense, maybe your toughest assignment or what you need to be most aware of when you're playing defense.
As a safety, I can't let any defender get behind me, so make sure I'm getting depth, and then I'm very pivotal in the run game, so reading my keys, making sure I'm filling the alleys and all of that.
Are you more comfortable against a team that passes the ball a lot or runs the ball more?
Probably a little bit towards the pass. I feel like I'm great in coverage, being able to get interceptions pretty consistently.
And then talk a little bit about what a key is when you're on punt or kickoff returns.
And kickoff returns, I'll start at the 50. I'm the farthest man to the right, and then I'll bail about 10 yards, turn, and go hit somebody.
All right, and sometimes maybe hit a couple of people then. Yeah. You're a senior. How long have you been playing football?
It's first year.
Is it?
Yep.
What made you come out this year? Somebody have to talk you into it, or?
Trinity, he's one of my best friends, told me he really wanted me out there, and I seen a lot of seniors leave, so I said I might as well hop out there one time.
That's got to be tough, especially that first 2 a day when it's 95 degrees, and you're thinking, what am I doing out here?
Those are rough, especially in the summer when we went to a camp, and every day we was at the camp, it was like 98. 98, 100. So, yeah, that was tough at first.
All right, well, good for you for coming out, and know we'll hear good things from you this year.
Thank you.
All right. Bradley, how long have you been playing football?
I've been playing since, I think, my 3rd grade year.
Okay, so quite a contrast between the two of you. Position or positions did you play?
I'm just a mainly defensive player. I play linebacker, and that's really all I do. I don't play the offense. I'm just defensive captain.
I think I saw in the paper you had, 17 tackles in the game against Ashland, so you were pretty much all over the field then.
For sure.
Kind of just talk a little bit about the attitude. I know that Mount Vernon game, that had to have stung because you played so well in that game, just kind of let a couple things get away from you in the 4th quarter.
Well, it sucked, but you can't really dwell on the past. You just got to kind of move forward in the weeks, but yeah,
you got Newark coming up on Friday. It's Wednesday afternoon. Has it been a couple of good days of practice this week?
I think this week has probably been our best week of practice so far from our last 2 weeks, because the focus is just all there. Everything's just...
All right. Well, good. We need a win. Hopefully we can get it on Friday night. Sure. Okay. Bradley, thanks so much. Caden, thank you. Trinity, hope you're 100% and appreciate you coming on. Thanks. We'll be back with more on the Coach's Corner program right after these words. Once again, back on the Coach's Corner program. Don't very often get a chance to talk to the cheerleaders, but we have a couple of cheerleaders we're going to talk to right now. We have Harmony to my far left and Jada, who's sitting right next to me. And Harmony, we're going to start with you because you're a freshman. So talk a little bit about how you became a cheerleader and how long you've been cheering.
Well, I've been cheering ever since I was like in 2nd grade. And
now, did you go through the Marion Midget football program or anything like that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what team did you cheer for?
Well, sometimes I cheered for, I kept on switching teams, but I cheered for the Dolphins, and I cheered for Stingers, and I cheered for a traveling team.
Okay. So you said starting in 2nd grade.
Yeah.
Why is that just something you saw people doing and say that looks like fun?
Well, not necessarily. My mom just pushed us all into sports when we were little.
Okay. Cheerleading has got to be a lot tougher. You make it look easy, but it can't be easy.
No.
It's got to be really, really tough.
Going into high school, it was a lot of adjusting.
So practice, do you practice, football team practices, 2.5 hours every day after, school? Do you practice every day?
Yeah, we have practice. Well, if we do good on our games on the weekends and Fridays, then we don't have practice Mondays, but if we don't, then we have practice all week besides Fridays.
No. So 2 games in, have you had to practice on Mondays? Or
No.
Good, so that means you're obviously doing the right job. About how many cheerleaders are there for football?
A lot. I don't even know how much is on my team. I don't know.
Okay. Now, do you have tryouts and so forth?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, will you also cheer for basketball, or will you just do football?
I just do football.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for coming on and being so involved. Jada, you're a sophomore. How long have you been involved in cheerleading?
I started cheering my 8th grade year when I moved here. And then ever since, I just cheered every year.
Okay, so not quite as long then.
Mm-mm.
Talk a little bit about, okay, it's the fourth quarter, you're down 49-7 or whatever the score is, and you're trying to get the crowd involved and rowdy and cheering, and they're just kind of sitting on their hands. How do you get the crowd to kind of respond and do what you want them to do?
I mean, usually we just do stuff with our student section. They're really involved when we're around. We just try to keep everyone up. Like, we don't want any bad feelings at the game whatsoever. So we just try to keep a smile on, and if we're losing, we're still going to be happy.
Yeah, good. Any idea how many different cheers you have as far as your routine goes?
We have 1,000 chants, and then we do band dances. Varsity does band dances on Fridays, and we have stuff to do with the student section and stuff to do with the whole crowd. It's just a lot of stuff.
Now, do you have a set routine? Do you know, in the first quarter we're going to do this, the second quarter we're... Okay, just kind of whatever comes to mind then.
It's just whoever calls whatever, I guess.
Good. Now, will you also try to cheer during basketball season?
No, I play basketball.
You play basketball, okay. All right, very good. Obviously, you both enjoy what you're doing, though.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So next time the crowd's at a Harding home game, of course, you get to go to the away games, too.
Yeah.
And especially the next time the crowd's at a home game, watch for Harmony and Jada and pick up on the cheers and do what they tell you to do, okay?
All right.
All right. Thanks for being on. We'll be back. We're going to talk a little bit of Harding volleyball, and we're going to do that right after these words.
Welcome to Harding Telecom Digital Media. Unlike television, print, and radio media, which are all one-way communications, digital media creates an interconnected world of interactive communications that puts you in control of content creation and broadcasting. As a member of Harding Telecom, we have 3 ways of building your digital media skills. As an underclassman, you can take our semester-long class, Intro to Video Editing, where you'll be introduced to the latest hardware and software in digital media. Learn to create your own content with overlays, special effects, and audio processors. Your content will only be limited by your imagination. Telecom 1 is a year-long class that introduces you to the world of audio-video broadcast communications. Here you will learn how to operate video hardware and software, design sets, direct and produce events, and expand your editing capabilities broadcasting online and over our public access television channel. You will learn to produce daily news announcements and share your creations throughout our cable television and social media networks. Finally, Telecom 2 is our year-long class available for upperclassmen who have completed the prerequisite Telecom 1 class. Here you will produce and direct your own broadcast events. You will be put in charge of productions and lead other students through the introductory processes of media production. Many of our telecom graduates have gone on to study broadcast media in college and launched careers as television news and weather personalities, Emmy-winning editors for nationally syndicated television shows, and audio production engineers. So don't hesitate to schedule Harding Telecom Digital Media. Talk to your guidance counselor or see Mr. Mullins in room 201.
Back once again on the Coach's Corner program, and Olivia Davis, who was the volleyball coach at Marion Harding. I remember when she played basketball not that long ago. And you've always been a volleyball person? Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about this year's team. I know it's still relatively early in the year, but kind of talk a little bit about this year's team.
Yeah, so we have 6 seniors this year. We actually just lost one, Kiani Jackson. She left us early to attend a prep school for basketball. So that leaves us with 5.5 because we also have Madi out due to an injury. We have some sophomores pulling up and helping us out big time. It's really great for them to get that varsity exposure as a sophomore. So once they get older, they already are prepared and they're ready to bring those other younger girls up with them and play together. But we've been working hard, and I don't know, I'm really proud of them, and I'm still excited for what's to come this season. Although our record doesn't look the best right now, I think that our wins are going to look different at the beginning of the season.
Now, do you go to camps and do anything kind of during the off season to get the team prepared?
So this is my first year as the head coach. We did things a little bit differently than what we did when I was in school and when the previous head coach was here. This year, or over the summer, we did some skills where the girls would sign up and they'd come in, and we just set the nets up. We'd roll some balls out. If we had a handful of girls come, we just let them scrimmage and get reps and get touches. We did weightlifting in the spring and in the summer, which was new. And then this summer, we did an overnight camp here at the high school, and my college coaches actually came down to Marion from Tiffin to run that camp, so it was a lot of fun.
Okay. Extra responsibility, obviously, as a head coach. Has that transition been pretty smooth?
For the most part, I have a really, really great support staff coming from my assistant coaches, as well as the athletic office. Kendra Carter's great, Sean Kearns is great, and then obviously Rose Cunningham is still in the building here with me now, so if I ever have questions, I can always run down or give her a phone call. I'm sure she's tired of me calling her at 7 a.m. to ask how to work the alarm on a Saturday morning, but yeah, I have a really great support group.
What is maybe the I guess the toughest transition being a first-year head coach? Is it just kind of putting your system into place?
Definitely that. I mean, I feel fairly confident in what it is I'm trying to get the girls to do volleyball-wise. I just think it's logistically putting all of the pieces together and getting them to work as one well-oiled machine. I think that would be, I would say, the biggest struggle.
You know, and volleyball, certainly you would know a lot better than me, but volleyball has changed so much over the past 10 or 15 years, hasn't it?
Yes, definitely. And I feel really grateful to have had the opportunity to play in college and not have graduated from college too long ago, and then still be in contact with my college coaches, and then my teammates who are younger than me are still going through the program. So I have those resources and those connections to help keep me up to date.
And being relatively young, you can associate with the girls, I think, a lot better than somebody that was stepping in the first year that maybe has been to 4 or 5 different schools and they're 40 years old, something like that. So that certainly, I think, plays to your advantage.
Yeah.
All right, well, good luck the rest of the season. Long way to go in the season, and hopefully a lot more wins on the horizon for you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Olivia. It's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Coach's Corner program. Reminder, you can catch the Coach's Corner program on the Marion Harding YouTube channel. Appreciate you watching, and we'll do it again next week. Thanks again for joining us on the Coach's Corner program.